development just reminded me as I'm here that I'm speaking to coaches of all ages. Could be Mike coaches, development coaches, intro to hockey, pee-wees, college, squirt, semi-pro, pro. So it's a wide range of people that I'm speaking to. And I was watching the kids up there, it reminded me of my kids. And made me think to ask a quick question is, as a coach, I have two boys that play hockey. Is it easier coaching a team or is it easier trying to coach your kids? How many think it's easier to try and coach your team as opposed to your kids? Okay. I got to tell you a quick story. So I was in Carolina, and we didn't make the playoffs, and my wife had booked a cruise for our family, and we hadn't been away on a vacation in a while. And so when the cruise took off, it came out a week later that the tryouts for the AAA hockey team were going to be in Raleigh, and we needed to be there. And so I called and I said, listen, I said, I can't get out of this cruise. I said, what's the process if somebody can't be there? And he said, well, you got to write a letter, and they'll set up an appointment on the AA tryout. They'll hold one spot, and then everybody will try out, and you'll go back, and they'll pick one kid out of the AA tryout, and that kid will make the AAA team. So I wrote the letter, went about the process, and we got back from the cruise, and it was the AA tryout. So there was 99 kids trying out. 98 were trying to make two teams, and one person was going to make the AAA team. So I had my oldest son, Peter, in the car, and we're on our way to the rink, and being a typical bad parent, I grabbed him and I said, listen, you gotta make some noise here. You gotta be noticeable. I said, so don't be afraid to take the puck to the net. Shoot the puck when you get the opportunity. Go to the front of the net. They always notice people in tryouts that score goals or make plays. Okay, Dad, I got it. So this was a 2-day tryout. It was Friday night, Saturday night, and then they were gonna have people Friday night, Saturday morning, and they're gonna have 90 down to 30 to come back on Sunday morning. So after the tryout on Friday night, he gets in the car, and his team had tied 3-3, and he had 2 goals, and he got in the car, and I looked at him, and I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? He's like, what? How'd you think I played? I said, well, you didn't take the puck to the net hardly at all. I said, you didn't skate down the wing. You hardly shot the puck. You keep getting it and just throwing it to the middle of the ice. He's a left winger. And he said, oh, all right, I'm sorry. He's 10 years old, 12 years old. And we get home. We drive back Saturday, and we're going to the rink, and I said, now, you know what you got to do? You got to make noise out here. You got to be noticeable. I said, there's 98 kids. There's one kid that's going to make it to the AAA team. And then there's only 30 kids that are going to make the AA team, so you got to make some noise here. All right, Dad, I got it. They end up winning the game, the scrimmage, 5-4. He had a goal and 2 assists in the scrimmage. And he gets in the car, and I look at him, and I said, what are you doing? He's like, what? I said, I told you to stop throwing the puck to the middle of the ice. Every time you get it on a breakout, you flip the puck to the middle of the ice. I said, get it, take it wide, drive over the defenseman, put the puck at the net. You got to make a difference out there. He's like, okay, fine. We got a call that night. He was invited back Sunday morning. On the way to the rink again, being the good parent that I am, I grabbed him in the car and I said, do you understand what I'm saying to you? And he said, I got it, Dad, I got it. I said, well, then stop passing the puck to the middle of the ice. I said, grab it and go. Once you're going, maybe you make some plays from there. So we come back, and there's only 30 kids left of the 98. And we're trying out for 2 teams, plus the 1 spot on AAA. And I'm the coach of the Carolina Hurricanes. And I go into a locker room, and it is packed. There's only 2 rooms. And the parents, it must have been like maybe 9 or 10 years old, 10 years old. The parents were all in there, and they were tightening the skates up for the kids. So you literally had to get in there. You had to wedge yourself in to where you were going, and your kid was sitting between. Not a word was being said. There was so much tension in the room from the kids, and most definitely from the parents. And we sit down, and nothing's being said, and I'm bent over, and I'm doing my skate, and there was a nice lady right next to me, and her son was sitting in front of her. And she said to my son, she said, you're Peter, right? And he said, yeah. He said, my son, Jimmy, has been the centerman on your line for the last 2 nights. And I'm down tightening my skates, and my son looks at her and he said, my dad told me not to pass the puck to your son anymore. I'm like this. head coach of the Hurricanes. Okay, I'm like this. And I looked up at him and I said, I did not say that. And I looked at her and I said, I did not say that. And he goes, yes, you did. You just told me in the car on the way in here. I'm like, I did not say that. I find it much easier to coach teams than my own kids, so.